Hey friends, this is Christopher here from The Wonder of Tolkien. I wanted to hop on here and make a quick video about my story of how I dove into the world of Middle Earth. As I've had this account on Twitter for the last couple of years, I have read many accounts from you as you posted and shared how you got into Middle Earth, how a teacher read it to you for the first time, how your grandparents or your father read it to you every year at Christmas, or how you stumbled upon the movies and now have read the books 50 times. That's crazy. I'm pretty new into Middle Earth, only 4+ years. And so though I took a deep dive and still am, I got into it in a very interesting way. Just some context. I wasn't a reader of fictional stories, myths and fantasy. I wasn't a reader into those things. I loved movies and art and music, but I thought that they were a waste of time. I read theological books and pastoral books and philosophy books. And I know, to my embarrassment, I said that to my wife, like, these are a waste of time. She's reading Harry Potter and reading all these books, Hunger Games, and she's raving about them. And I'm over here trying to be serious and academic. And I look back on it now and think it's so foolish. But in that moment, that's how I grew up, and that's what I was thinking. And so it wasn't until a mentor of mine who's a pastor in Tennessee kept posting about Tolkien. He kept posting about The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and how these stories gave him courage in the midst of times when he felt despair and felt timid and fear. And so it wasn't until COVID, April 2020, where as me and my family and I head down to Santa Cruz because we live in the Bay Area. We head down to Santa Cruz pretty often during that time because no one was down at the beach, and we hung out and we enjoyed some just family time at the beach. We popped on Audible. It was a Rob Inglis Audible for The Hobbit, and it was the first time listening or reading anything from Middle Earth, and I couldn't stop listening to it. It captivated me. It made me laugh. It made me gasp. It made me keep pushing play and not want to pause it when we got to the beach. And so I think we listened to that pretty quick in a few days or maybe a week or two, and it was so fun. And it was so captivating, and I was proven wrong. Even though The Hobbit was just the beginning for me, it filled my heart with so much like wonder and adventure. And so I bought a single volume edition of The Lord of the Rings from Target. I don't know why, not Amazon, but from Target. Maybe because it was a quick, just overnight or 2-hour shipping. I had to get it quickly, and I got it, and I started reading it. And of course, if you know, The Lord of the Rings is a little more dense than The Hobbit. And for someone who's not used to reading fantasy, it took me a while, but I read it and I couldn't put it down. And I just remember weaving through this story and dense just themes and the ups and downs and the surprises, and getting to a moment in The Return of the King. I'll never forget this. I was in my kids' room reading at bedtime. They probably were asleep at this time. And I'm there reading, like, not reading something I've already read. I'm reading it live with them as I'm reading it for the first time. And it's probably around the coronation when the ring gets destroyed and some of these themes of redemption. It's just so beautiful. The hobbits being praised and the courage being shown. And so it's around those moments. And I remember reading it, and I remember just crying in my chair, like tears streaking down, because something deeply impacted me. I mean, I saw redemption. I saw the gospel. I saw beauty and courage over fear. I saw so many themes of just beautiful things to applaud and to celebrate came to life, and they're all woven together, all the threads woven together so beautifully for this climax. And so that captivated me even more, and I went on a journey. I bought a whole bunch of more Tolkien books. I read the Silmarillion, which was difficult to read, but I also read the Bible, so it wasn't too different from the Old Testament. And so reading that was wild and beautiful. I got really into Tolkien and his letters, which I still love. Some of my favorite writings of Tolkien are his letters, to learn more about the way he thought, the way he lived, his perspective, the background behind The Lord of the Rings. I don't think there's a better book to understand the background behind The Lord of the Rings as this author, Tolkien, is just writing through all the changes that he went through. And so I bought a whole bunch of more Tolkien books. These are some of them behind me. I got 80, 90 now. My wife is amazing. She lets me buy Tolkien books. I started the Twitter account in 2020 February, so 2 years later. It was right when Rings of Power was coming out, and I was just so excited to be a Tolkien fan because movies were being announced, books were coming out, the show was coming out, and it was just fun to follow a whole bunch of people like Matt from Nerd of the Rings, and Cliff from theonering.net, and James from Digital Tolkien, and Caitlin from Tia Tolkien, all those folks, just listening and seeing their analysis and being like, wow, I don't know much about this story yet. I've only read it once or twice, but I love what it does to me. It re-enchants me in a world that feels disenchantment and disillusionment and just cynicism. It brings back wonder to me, and so I love that it made the things that I was used to come to life in a new way. It's what C.S. Lewis says about the power of myths. He said that they lift the veil of familiarity. They lift the veil of things that are old to us and familiar, so we can see them in a new light. And it's like what Tolkien says about recovery and myth. So I just love it. It's beautiful. I dove right in. In fact, me and my family went on a 2-month sabbatical in New Zealand, visiting all the sites so that we could of the movie. Got to meet Richard Taylor and the Weta team. Was there for some celebrations for Return of the King anniversary. And we just nerded out while being on vacation and just enjoying the beautiful nature of New Zealand and Middle Earth. And I listen to Howard Shore all the time. I'm humming it and whistling it all the time. I started a Twitter account. I didn't think I was going to blow up. I just did it as a normal fan. So thankful that it did, because it just given me more opportunity to be able to share with other people and do a lot of giveaways and encourage people to get into the books, which is really fun. And then, I just launched this YouTube channel a couple weeks ago, and got some fun interviews locked up and lined up for that. And so that's a brief synopsis of my story, how I got into it. Of course, in between all of that is buying more books and also watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I love many times. It was almost the only thing we watched for a year or two. We just kept putting it on repeats, and I would cry and cheer, and my kids loved it. And I just love the way the story moved us to see the world as a real story. Like, we're in a real story. I believe there's a good God that loves us. I believe that there's need for courage and hope and redemption and pity and forgiveness. I believe there's darkness and evil that light needs to fight against. Like, those things are real. They were real for Tolkien, and they're real for me, and they're real for you maybe. And so the stories are not just stories. They're actually just ways to help me understand my story and where I'm at as a character in this grand tale we are in. And so hope that encourages you. I would love to know your story. Share it in the comment section below. And maybe I'll give away a Tolkien book to the best story. I don't know. But I just hope that I can continue to push out these videos and some more stuff to help spread some wonder, because we're all in need of it. I want to re-enchant us to the beautiful world we live in. And so thanks for following along. Thanks for helping spread some joy and wonder through Tolkien and Middle Earth. And I'll catch you next time on The Wonder of Tolkien. Peace.